Greetings, this is your host, Reigning Queen Goddess, and thank you for tuning in to Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit, where we are honoring sexuality and spirituality as one and balancing the energies of both in a beautiful, complementary fashion. So stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. This is Reigning Queen Goddess with Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit podcast, and we are here tonight for our virtual Spirit Sexy Kickoff Healthfair Week. So we want to introduce our guest for tonight. I'm very honored to have Antonio, the Yoniwhisper. Hi, Antonio.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So awesome to have you on the show.
It's my honor. It's my honor.
So we're just going to hop on into getting to know who you are. Now, it's been said, I'm going off of your Instagram handle, Yoni Whisperer. It's been said that the womb, or the spirit of the womb, the birthing place of all manifestations, has a voice. So would you say you have a gift to receive messages of women's trauma?
Wow. I've never had that question posed to me that way before. Yes, I would say that I am good at listening to energy and receiving trauma. I think that comes from myself not being raised by my mother. She left when I was very young. That absence in my life of that feminine energy allowed me to tap into mine to replace it. So I guess what's resonating with these women is my feminine side. And I think most men need to find a way to connect with that feminine side of themselves in order to be the best version of themselves.
Right, I see. Now, getting to that space, how did you start your journey? I understand you say your upbringing, you had the absence of your mother that played a huge part of you getting into your self-healing. So what initiated that for you to turn it into your power? How did you start your journey?
I have a vague memory of a conversation I had with my father. My father wanted me to embrace, I guess, my Peterson blood is what he would call it. You know, he, not wanting me to focus on one woman. He doesn't really believe in love. And we have total opposite points of views on this topic. He would tell me to focus on myself and not to focus on loving one person because I could have anybody I would want. My father was kind of like a little pimp back in the day.
Okay.
So I guess in his mind I should have followed his footsteps, but I went the total opposite way and began worshiping queens instead of pimping or whatever. So that's where it began with my conflict with my father, which is ironic because, you know, my father and my mother's relationship didn't work out, and that was a catalyst for my getting into my feminine energy. And then my father wanted me to follow in his footsteps, and I kind of went the opposite way, you know. So I guess my care for the feminine energy and the plight of the female, the black female, is coming from a place of a personal nature.
I see. So with shifting, doing the shadow work of shifting from what I would say the negative low vibrational frequency of the MAC mentality and shifting into a worshiping and honoring and coexisting and flowing in balancing of the energies with the feminine energy, how hard was that for you to shake, breaking that generational curse within
it was extremely hard because it's never one-sided. You know, my intention can be one thing, but the intention of a female is something totally different in this day and age. Right. Both men and women do not know how to communicate with each other. It's usually like a competition or a game that we're playing with each other. So it's a minute amount of honesty in our intention, because behind that honesty is some type of manipulation to keep the upper hand of power.
Right.
You know, so with me being a general a spirit that is trying to help or not trying to get over on,
Right.
and coming in contact with a feminine, that a female that has some other motives, can kind of make my journey a little harder, you know. So
Right.
it's been very hard. It's hard for women to trust that, you know, my intention is what it is, because not a lot of men have the same intention.
I see. So that is it's also referred to or said that a union is only as sacred as how genuine both individuals are being, both energies are being with themselves. Because a lot of times people don't even know themselves, so you can't even be your full capacity, meet the full capacity and full potential in a relationship or a union, because you're not even being genuine with yourself. So that's very deep how you broke that down and explained that, breaking through that generational trauma.
Yeah, it's becoming a chain effect where, you know, it's being passed down for a generation, starting with, you know, women being told that they had to be ladylike, and men being taught that they have to be this certain type of masculine in order to be a man that's void of emotion or vulnerability, you know. And you know, and nowadays the term ladylike doesn't have the same definition. You know, so, you know, if you're in a situation, I can't take it away from women, but if you're in a situation when you have the ability to be dependent and independent in the same minute, you know, I can't blame the majority of women for taking advantage of that. After all of this time, you know, being subjugated and put down by men and have all these hardships in front of women, now women are actually in a place where they can receive their power and live their power. You know, not everybody's going to take that opportunity in the right way. They're going to abuse it. So we're having a mix of women who are abusing, who are actually navigating their way through it, you know.
Yeah, it's so beautiful to have you standing in as a pioneer and standing with the feminine energy, balancing the masculine energy in the community to bring the healing and also assist with the healing, because I know a lot of the movements and everything, the healing has begun with the goddesses, the women. However, to balance it out, we have to have the masculine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. However, to see that union manifest on this realm is very important. So being able to balance the energies on all realms and actually bring things through to fruition. So it's beautiful to see you standing at the forefront with this new energy, which is an old ancient way, but just energy, frequency, shift, and new perspective and opening of minds that's happening right now for a lot of people.
Yeah, we have the elegant rose, we have the nurturer, which is basically what the woman is understood to encompass, and then you have the warrior and the hunter, which is what the man is supposed to encompass. But you know, the man can be a nurturer, and the man can be an elegant rose, without being perceived as being gay. You know, and a woman can be a hunter, the single parent mother. A woman can be a warrior. You know, so we all have duality within us. In order to be the best version of ourselves, we have to access both sides of ourselves, the yin and the yang. You know, so and that's a really hard thing to do for men. It's not so hard for women, but for men, it's a really difficult feat to accomplish because of everything else that's around us and what has raised us.
I see. And going back to speaking of what has raised us, our foundation, going back to your foundation and your shift in perspective and growth, spiritual growth, explain how you move through triggers after overcoming and shifting from that energy. How do you overcome when triggers happen? How do you move through that energy?
Communication. That's all I can say.
Communication.
The definition of communication for me is a person talking while the other person is listening, and then the other person talks and the other person listens. Now, if you're talking and you're waiting for the person to stop talking, talk.
Right.
A lot of people know how this goes. You have a point in your head, and you want to keep it, so you want to hurry up and get it out, and you cut off the person to talk or whatever. That's not communication to me. So when a trigger happens for me, I like to voice it. I like to communicate about it while I'm in that space. I don't like to sweep it under the table and let it go away. Triggers can happen any moment. It happens to anybody. But if you don't communicate about it, it'll fester and become something completely different.
Exactly.
So yeah, communication is it.
It will manifest either way. That's so true. It will come out.
Yeah.
So explain how you use tantric healing energy to heal clients and help them move through sexual traumas and blocks.
Well, Tantra teaches the balance between the sexual, the spiritual, and the physical. So with certain techniques, learning how to access certain chakras with energy work as well, I can help or navigate the person into a better state of living or a release or breakthrough. So we have 7 chakras that give us different types of connections to our realm. So you have your crown chakra, which connects you to the universe. You have your third eye. I'm pretty sure people have heard this term before. This is located in the middle of your forehead. This gives you insight, foresight, intuition. Then you have your throat chakra. Your throat chakra, when this is blocked, that means you have a tendency to avoid confrontation. You don't really speak your mind. You don't speak your truth. Then you have your heart chakra. Your heart chakra can be blocked for any number of reasons. It could be betrayal in your family, betrayal with a loved one, death in the family or whatever. And you have for women, your womb area. That'll be your 5th chakra. For men, it's their diaphragm, your dentin. And for women, unfortunately, most women go through some type of sexual trauma when they're growing up. And when this happens, they tend to lock this experience away very deep, so you don't have to keep reliving it. But it tends to come up in present-day relationships and sexual relationships, and they don't know why. They could be in the middle of having a sexual act, and all of a sudden they start crying out of nowhere. They don't know why it's happening, so they have to stop having sex, and there's no communication about it because nobody knows what's happening. Something did happen. The man probably hit a trigger point inside of her yoni, and it triggered a memory of the abusive time in her life, and that can settle in her sacral chakra or her womb area, and then you have your crown. Your crown is located in between, for the man, the scrotum and the anus, and that connects you to the earth. If you have a disconnect there, you have a disconnect with nature. You have to find a way to connect. So having an understanding of this and other things, how we work spiritually, sexually, the anatomy of it, the reflexology of it, gives you a complete, not complete, but an understanding beyond the general. So you're not just feeling these emotions or feeling the energy and just moving on with your day like nothing happened. You're actually paying attention to what's actually happening around you.
Right.
So I guess it gives me a different perspective on how to live and how to see the world, or receive it.
I see. That's very deep the way you explain it. Very beautiful the way you open up so that people can see what the different energy centers or the chakras are doing and how they function and flow, and how important they are to be balanced. I wanted to ask, how does your sacred work play out in your love life, in your personal love life?
It plays out When used correctly, it allows me to manifest my desires and my goals. Manifestation sex is what I call it. When doing this, and I practice ejaculation. What that is the opposite of ejaculation. I save my life force, which is my sperm. I use it for things that are important. I don't just waste it into a condom. So what I do is, if I need something done in my life, if I want something to come positive in my life, attention to sex is going towards that goal. That helps manifest my desires.
Can I have to repeat that? Because I think you moved away from the phone and you went out for just a minute. I want to make sure the audience hears that.
Okay. Which part? Repeat all of it?
Yeah.
Well, manifestation sex. This is a technique used in order to manifest a person's goals or desires, so that you're not just having sex just to be having sex, because sex is a very, very powerful physical and spiritual act. It's the most powerful and spiritual act on the planet between two beings in order to connect with the spirit realm and the physical realm at the same moment. So with this type of energy being exchanged between two people at that time, there's so many other things you can do with that energy other than just sweating it out in primal sex. So certain techniques as a goal. And for myself, I'm 46. I'm about to be 47. My age group, I'm not supposed to get more than a couple of times a month. So some women who do not know this may look at this as, you're not pleasing me, or you're not doing something right. But in actuality, we were taught the opposite when it comes to sex.
Right.
And is not supposed to have an orgasm every time you have sex. The woman is supposed to have an orgasm and climax every time she has sex. And yes, there is a difference between orgasm and climax for a woman.
Break that down. Explain it.
The difference between an orgasm and a climax for a woman, since a woman is multi-orgasmic, she has a lot of little orgasms that lead up to her climax. So if a woman feels unsatisfied, it may not be because she didn't orgasm. It may be because she didn't finish. She did not climax. The man came to it. It hit the right or
that it canceled. You moved away.
Yes. Yeah. So, with knowing all of this, it kind of changes your perspective on what you're doing. I'm a man that now knows I'm not supposed to orgasm every time. It takes pressure off of me, and it allows longer for her to have as many orgasms.
Right.
It helps her. That's why she's supposed to do it so many times. So I've switched up what I was taught growing up by Pornhub and everybody else, and now I know exactly what I'm supposed to do with my lingam, and that's not just to penetrate her. There's a lot more to it.
So how do you connect with men in the community? Do you offer any assistance to help them with sexual trauma?
Yes, I do.
The knowledge and the wisdom that you have?
I sure do. I help men. I teach them how to ejaculate. I teach them how to connect with any past traumas that they have had, because men go through sexual trauma. Maybe not as frequently, or maybe it's not spoken about as much, but we do. And I also help men understand the difference between intimacy and sex. That's a concept that we lose a lot of men. Because we are, as boys, the only time that we understand intimacy that's not aggressive or primal is when we were really, really young. When we get to the age of maybe 6, 7, or 8, we're in man boot camp. We're trying to be voided out of crying and having emotions, and we got to man up, and we got to do things a certain way to be a man. So from that point, we don't know how to be intimate unless it's violent, which is, having fun, or lashing out, or if we want to have sex, intimacy has to be sex.
Right.
So we don't know the in between where we can just be intimate without having sex, without that type of level of intimacy. So I try to help them understand that for women, the intimacy is not sex most of the time.
Right.
It means sex some of the time, but not most of the time. So getting them to understand that, and also being intimate with another man without it being gay. Right. Being able to look into a man's eyes for longer than 2 seconds, or hug a man for longer than 2 seconds. That's a really, really hard thing for a quote-unquote straight man to do, to just, hold on to this other man without it being gay. You know what I mean? So, stuff like that is very important.
And being grounded in your sexuality and your spirituality. So that's a strong point that they have to sometimes.
Yes.
So as a healer in the community, what advice would you like to leave the audience with in regards to staying balanced in their sexuality and spirituality?
I'm just beginning this journey into tantric fitness. That's something that is very important, because fitness is very important for any type of lifestyle you want to live. If you're going to get into tantra, I suggest that you definitely look into fitness as well, because no matter how good your sex is, if you're unhealthy on the inside, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in your semen. It's going to come out in your sweat. It's going to come out in your energy. And you're sharing that with your partner. So you want to have clean sex. You want to have clean energy shared between each other. So you got to get your health in order, especially nowadays with what's going on. Increase your immune system, and it increases your perception of yourself. You become more positive, more strong. So that would be the first step. And then the second step is to study. Don't just think that you already know. Just realize that as an adult, now you can stop yourself and say, what is it that I have been taught? Has it been working for me? Is it logical? Should I continue to go down this path, or should I just relearn what I've been taught and see how I take it and how I absorb it, and see if it switches my perception about things? So that's what I would say.
That is so beautiful. That is so awesome. Well, I want to thank you personally for all the beautiful sacred work that you're doing and how you're using your gifts and allowing spirit to move through you to get back as you heal yourself and continue your journey, and just allow your energy to just also help heal other people and assist other people on their path. How can people get in contact with you? How can the community reach you if they want to get services or have sessions, help coach? How do they reach you?
Oh, yeah, you just go to I'm Yoniwhisper 1 on Instagram. You can send me a direct message, and we can book a session. I'm doing online classes and sessions online. I am starting to pick up with person-to-person sessions, but I'm taking that slowly until we get into the green light with what's going on and everything. And my email address is relieveyourbirth@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, I want to let you know that this has been very informative, a lot to meditate on, and I know everyone that's listening is going to have a lot of shadow work and things to sit down and kind of just think about and work on healing, and reach out to the young person so that he can help you, assist you with any traumas that you need help moving through, so that you can be free sexually and spiritually and flow and balance.
I'm here.
He's here. Y'all hear him, so make sure you tap in so that you can get your release. Well, thank you again, Antonio, and we're going to have you have any last things, anything you want to say, any last moments? If not, we'll go ahead and end the show.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to end it with, I know a lot of things are shaky right now in our lives. Things are changing. I just want to say, don't allow fear to live your life. There's a lot of fear energy around us surrounding Corona. Now, yes, it is something that is affecting us. It is a reality. But fear and stress lowers your immune system.
Right.
All right. So, and doubt lowers your immune system. Your brain is the president. It tells your body what to do and your immune system what to do. Believe that you are strong enough, and believe that you can be healthy again and take action. Don't just sit on the couch eating fried food while you're at home. Start to take an interest in your health. That's all I want to say.
So get tapped in and make sure that you are doing a virtual check-in with us all week long, and make sure that you're doing self-checks and checking in to make sure you're grounded in your energy. And if not, do a shift. If you need some help with shifting through some things, tap into the healing energy that Spirit is using right now through Antonio, the Yoniwhisper, and he will assist you in moving through those blocks.
Yes.
So thank you again, and we appreciate you so much, and we hope to have you again on the show.
It will be my honor to come back. Just let me know.
I sure will. Well, thank you again, and have a good night.
Okay, peace.
Peace.
Greetings, gods and goddesses. This is Nikki Jones, aka Reigning Queen Goddess, stopping by to invite you to check out my 12-week intensive Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit, an intensive that focuses on combining the aspects of sexuality and spirituality as one, learning how to include self-love practices, body positive, mirror work, orgasmic manifestation, cutting cords, sex magic, divine unions, sacred sex, ceremonial worship, and the sacred art of spiritual fluidity, and balancing all these aspects as one. If you are interested, please send me an email to sacredgoddessesoasis@gmail.com, and see you there.